Hello, my name's Dorothy Ann Simister, and this is my studio that I work in, and also I have people visiting with the Hebden Bridge Open Studios. So I'd like to introduce you to some of my work. So this picture, or all the pictures on this wall really, are of shop window reflections, which is what I mainly paint, but not the only thing. So these are all shop window reflections from the outside of the shop looking in. So you get the reflections of the buildings and objects, people, cars passing, and everything that's happening outside reflected in the window. So you get this conglomeration of things that are in the window and things that are outside and being reflected. So they're familiar, but they're opposite as well. I obviously like lots of bright colours, and I'm interested in mannequins and dresses and people and just general things that happen in life. So this is a selection of a lot of the reflections that I've done, all shapes and sizes. I also get printed postcards of the reflections that I've done as well, so people can have a smaller record of them rather than buying the expensive watercolour paintings. These are nearly all watercolour paintings, but I do work in oils and acrylics, which there's an example of an acrylic one there and a mixed media one, which is acrylic, watercolour, inks and many other things. And as you can see, I vary them in size as well. The shops in Hebden Bridge provide an enormous amount of and range of objects, and they change all the time, so you get a little bit of history. One of the other things that I do is I do a lot of walking and sketching as I walk, and from these sketches I quite often make landscape drawings and paintings. So this is just a selection of some sketchbooks which I've got rather a lot of. This is a painting in the Stubai, well, a charcoal drawing in the Stubai Alps that I made. And so anywhere that I go, and I particularly like walking in the mountains, I'll try and make a drawing of. They don't always turn into bigger paintings. Some other paintings that I've done are, this is a selection in COVID times where we were restricted to our gardens, and so I started painting my garden and the plants in it, which was a really enjoyable thing to do, and we had beautiful weather as well, so it was a unique opportunity. So this is a bright example of that, and it's called Spring in the COVID Garden. One of the other things that I get made are cards. So they're blank greeting cards which can be bought on request from the website or just by ringing me up, whichever. So they're just blank greetings cards, which are A5. So that's another thing that I've started doing fairly recently as well. And one of the other things that I'm really interested in is seed pods and drawing them, often blowing them up so they're much bigger than they look. And this is one example. This is in chalk pastel of a peony. So I tend to collect them as I'm going around the gardens, and I do those in watercolour and also in other medium, whatever medium I fancy at the time. Another thing that I've started doing, again, quite often from sketches or occasionally from photographs or a combination of both, is lino cuts. So I make a black and white lino cut and then hand paint it, which is just a technique that I've developed in order to make them very unique and individual, as each one has different colours in it, or at least slightly different colours. It makes them, you know, a cheaper way of making a painting, but with a similar background. And these are just some of the examples. Occasionally, like this one, it's a reduced lino printing where I'm cutting away the lino and printing each time, which you can only do a very limited amount of. The other things that I do is, again, when I'm journeying about, is these watercolours, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. It's more practice than anything else. This is another example of a painting that I'm working on at the moment. In fact, I tend to work on quite a lot of paintings at the same time. You know, when I get stuck with one, then I'll move to another one. And these are some samples of work that I'm working on at the moment. They start off, the watercolours start off by very intense drawing, like this, where I draw it out. I haven't finished this one, but I draw it out quite precisely, because once you put a watercolour wash down, it's very difficult to alter it, although you can to a certain extent, and I do tend to do that. So it's just a little snippet of my artwork.